Welcome to the podcast from your RiskFootprint resilience team. We're your pathway to smarter hazard and climate preparedness, offering clear insights, actionable solutions, and expert support to help you safeguard your properties and build true resilience.
You know, our hospitals are supposed to be these beacons of safety in a storm, right? They're the one place we can all turn to when things go really, really wrong. But as disasters get more frequent and way more intense, we're facing this terrifying new reality.
And look, this isn't some hypothetical question. This is something our healthcare system is being forced to answer right now as our most critical infrastructure gets pushed to its absolute breaking point. Let's just take a look at the pattern that got us here.
You might see these as just a series of isolated incidents, but they're not. This is a clear and, frankly, escalating pattern. I mean, from Katrina back in 2005, to Sandy in 2012, to Maria in 2017, and then just this year with Helene and Milton, every single one of these events is a brutal lesson, showing us just how vulnerable our lifelines truly are.
So now, let's really dig into the staggering human cost of these failures, because this goes so far beyond just property damage.
The scale of this is just devastating. After Katrina, New Orleans lost its only top-tier trauma center. For good. During Sandy, 6,500 patients had to be evacuated in New York City because the backup generators, which were often in the basements, the first place to flood, completely failed. And in the most recent storms, we saw these unbelievable images of hospital staff being rescued from rooftops by helicopter. It's a complete system failure.
And it's not just about flooding either. This year, wildfires out in California shut down clinics and forced surgeries to be postponed, not because of the flames themselves, but because of the smoke and the constant risk. The threats are really coming from all sides.
So the problem is obvious, but the solution? Well, it's been surprisingly hard to nail down. And it's not because we don't have enough information. It's because we've been looking at it all wrong. This quote right here really gets to the absolute core of the issue. Everybody agrees we need to make our hospitals stronger. The real challenge is figuring out how to turn that general idea into a smart, financially sound plan. Right now, hospital administrators and investors are basically drowning in data. They've got hazard maps, climate models, risk scores, but it's all just noise. It tells them that a flood might happen, but it doesn't tell them what the actual financial fallout is going to be. And so what happens? Crucial investments get delayed.
But what if we could change that? What if we could actually translate that abstract risk into a concrete number? Well, this is where the new science of resilience really comes into play.
It all comes down to this one concept: expected annual loss, or EAL for short. It's a really simple idea, but it has profound implications. So instead of just saying a building is in a high-risk flood zone, EAL actually calculates the estimated average cost of damage that building will face from all potential hazards every single year. So how does it work? Basically, the model combines how likely a hazard is to happen with the value of the property and the people at risk, and the historical damage that similar events have caused. What you get at the end is a clear, projected annual cost. All of a sudden, risk has a price tag. And having this one number, it changes everything. With it, you can scan an entire portfolio of properties and instantly pinpoint the most vulnerable ones. You can finally do a real return on investment analysis. You know, is spending $1 million on a flood wall actually going to save us more than that in the long run? It gives you real leverage with insurers and finally aligns patient safety with the bottom line. This kind of financial clarity, it unlocks a whole new way of thinking, removing from just reactive repairs to proactive strategic investment. And here's the new game plan. First, you assess all the potential hazards: floods, winds, fires, you name it. Then, you use modern tools like AI to understand the building's specific weaknesses. Is the first floor too low? After that, you calculate the financial risk using EAL. And finally, you can make smart, targeted investments where they'll have the biggest impact. It's a real strategy. The difference is just night and day. The old way was all about reacting, patching up walls and pumping out basements after the disaster already hit. The new way is about anticipating, building higher flood barriers, and, crucially, moving those backup power systems out of the basement and up onto higher floors. It's about planning, not panicking. And this isn't just theory, okay? It's already working in the real world. After Hurricane Sandy, hospitals in New York City invested in flood barriers and totally redesigned their power systems. You've got companies like Reactive and Schneider Electric helping hospital systems upgrade their infrastructure, which not only saves them millions in energy costs, but also makes them far more reliable when a disaster actually strikes.
So what did we learn from all these hard-won battles? Well, it really boils down to a few critical lessons for building a truly resilient healthcare future.
First off, power and water are everything. You lose them, and a hospital is just a building. It's not a place of healing anymore. Second, we have to get so much better at evacuating our most vulnerable patients. Third, all these big upgrades have to happen without disrupting the care that patients need today. And finally, and this is so important, we have to remember that underserved communities are often hit the hardest and have the fewest resources to bounce back. Resilience must be equitable.
Ultimately, this whole shift isn't just about protecting buildings. It's about protecting lives and making sure that when the worst happens, our healthcare lifelines can actually stand strong. Because the next storm, the next fire, the next flood, it is coming. The only real question is, will we be ready for it?
Thank you for joining us on this podcast. To learn more, visit riskfootprint.com.